What's up, everyone? This is another episode of What's Next with Dev. As you may have realized, I have not been on YouTube in a while due to life, family, friends, different things. Sorry about that. But I'm back with another episode of What's Next with Dev. And in this episode, I'm going to show you a project I'm working on, which is a board game. If you know me, you know I like board games quite a bit, and so in this episode, I'm going to show you the project that I've been working on, which is the game called Sequnce. Sequnce is a board game that I played at my cousin's house. My cousin through marriage, my cousin's house. I was introduced to this game, and it's essentially a card game, but on a board. And I said out loud that, I could make this. So that's what I'm trying to do. So in this video, I'm going to show you kind of the beginning parts of me making this game, which I've decided I want to make out of wood. So the first thing I'm doing here is I'm taking regular size playing cards, folding them in half, as you can see, cutting them, and then after I cut them diagonally. Now basically what I'm doing here is when I do this, I'm going to glue them to a piece of paper and make my own cards. A way that I could have avoided doing this step is by buying mini cards on Amazon. However, I didn't want to wait for the cards via Amazon, so I went to the dollar store and purchased playing cards. For this game, you need 2 decks of cards to make the board. So, you'll see I'm gluing them right now and sticking them onto a piece of paper. This is very time consuming. I don't recommend doing this if it's your first time making the game. So that's what they look like when you glue them on the piece of paper. Those are all the cards that I have to do. And this is all of the cards on the paper, which, as you can see, there's quite a few cards. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these out. Again, very tedious. And the problem doing this is not all of the cards they're not all the same size. Some of them are bigger than others. So when you put them out on the plywood, which I'll explain in a minute, they're not all even, and then you have to end up cutting more and more sections of the cards off, which is kind of annoying. But I made it work. Again, this is a prototype. This is not the finished product. We're still working on a bunch of things, figure out how we want it to work. And yeah, I'm just kind of cutting these back because I'm not happy with the size of them. Alright, still cutting away. So in my next clip, you'll see in a second, is me putting the cards on plywood. I'm making this box, as I said, out of wood, and the board itself, where the cards are, is going to be the top lid and bottom lid of a box. They're going to slide in and out. So here's my cards finished. There's a lot of cards, like I said, 2 decks worth. And this is them laid out on plywood. So, as I was trying to explain, the box is going to be made out of wood. There's going to be 4 sides to the box, and the top lid and bottom lid. The top lid and bottom lid are going to be the game board itself, and they are going to slide in and out of the box. Right now, you can see me trying to line them up to see how it's going to look. The sides of the box are going to be made out of plywood. No, poplar. I'm sorry. Poplar wood, not plywood. The board itself is made out of plywood. And you'll see in another clip after I'm done here of how we're going to connect the pieces of poplar to each other in order to create this box. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever made something like this. Luckily, my husband, who you can see in the back messing with his bandsaw, luckily he does woodworking and has a lot of tools and is a big help with trying to come up with things to do and how to use tools that I don't know how to use. So I'm lucky in that regard. So, like I said before, not all the cards are even. So you see me here cutting them back a little bit to try and get them to be as even as possible on the plywood. This is not the final step of the board. This is just me trying to dry fit everything to see how it's going to look. And that's kind of sort of what it's going to look like towards the end. So the next thing I said, we're going to make the box with poplar wood, and we're going to use finger joints on the corners to secure the box. Finger joints are what they sound like, and if you put your fingers together and you cross them, that's basically what a finger joint is, and you add glue. Never made finger joints before, and this is the jig that we created to make such finger joints. Unfortunately, we've been trying this a few different ways. We haven't come up with a perfect way to do this yet. So the finger joints that you make, these little teeth here on the table saw, they don't really want to stick into each other very easily. So it would be easier if we had a dado stack, which is a stack of blades that makes a deeper or a wider cut in the wood so that the joints would slide into each other easily. Unfortunately, we don't have that, so we were just kind of playing with this jig, this finger joint jig with a regular blade. So far, we're not done with it yet. We're trying to see how we can make it better, so that's why this project is taking so long. I hope you've enjoyed this video. As I said, this is a project that's been taking quite a while, a lot longer than I had hoped, but it's a work in progress. My next video is hopefully going to be more of the game, the board game. The video after that is going to be how to play the game. So as always, keep watching and stay tuned.